We're going to look at the same trade routes that we looked at in class, and we're going to look a bit further about the global interactions that they caused and the result of those global interactions. To recap, here on the left is a picture of some of the trade routes that we looked at class. The Trans-Saharan, the Oceanic trade routes, the Indian Ocean trade routes, and the Silk Road. So all of these trade routes connected with one another at some point. So this meant that the world was being connected, even if the people didn't really know it. And these trade routes actually caused cultural diffusion. This is going to be a key part of this unit, cultural diffusion, meaning that cultures began to mix. We start to see ideas, religion, art, architecture, all starting to mix between cultures. They're starting to learn from each other. Also, another key part that we're going to look at throughout this unit is technologies, specifically sailing technology. So first, the probably most known and largest trade route, the Silk Road, named after the commodity from China, silk. China had a monopoly over silk. The Silk Road was overland that linked China and the Mediterranean world. It covered a lot of different climates and geographies. There were mountains, there were deserts. It got very cold in the winter and snowed, got very hot in the summer. And camels are actually what allowed for people to trade along the Silk Road. So let's look at the goods that were traded along the Silk Road. China imported or received new crops from the Mediterranean, as well as medical products and precious stones. So they were getting a lot of valuable things from the Mediterranean. China exported or gave peaches, spices. Silk is going to be a key part, right? Everyone wanted silk. Pottery, paper, gunpowder is going to be a large export for China. They actually tried to keep gunpowder to themselves, but eventually the recipe for gunpowder will get out. And finally, the compass is going to come from China. Once again, going along with that technology for sailing, that's going to be a key part, key role from China. Along with these goods, we also see diseases travel along the Silk Road, smallpox, measles, but more importantly, the bubonic plague, which devastated a lot of empires. The second route we're going to look at is the Indian Ocean trade routes. This is the routes by sea that were formed in order to avoid the taxes or like the tolls along the Silk Road. So the Indian Ocean maritime system linked lands from India to Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and even Asia. It was made possible because of seasonal changes in the monsoon winds. If you see here at this image, during the spring, there were winds pushing people towards India. And then actually, once winter came, it pushed them away. So that actually helped people travel around the Indian Ocean. So going along with this sailing technology, things that were unique to the Indian Ocean include the lateen sail. That's here, these triangle-shaped sails, which help ships move faster. The astrolabe from the Islamic world, which is this image here, it was a device that allowed you to look at stars and understand where you are. And the caravel from Europe here, it was a larger ship that could hold more cargo. So what we're going to see, and this image shows it very well, is the caravels are actually going to use the lateen sails. So now we have ships that can carry more cargo moving at a faster rate, and they're going to use the astrolabe to know where they're going. So it's going to increase the rate of trade. We have the Trans-Saharan trade routes going through West Africa, through the Saharan Desert, and reaching the Mediterranean. Saharan trade routes spread goods such as gold. Gold is going to be a key part. Salt, as we looked at before. Ivory is going to be key. And slaves. There was slave trade even before the founding of the Americas. Once again, they too used camels, similar to the Silk Road. West Africa received silk, cotton, horses, and salt from the Mediterranean. This contact with Muslim merchants encouraged West Africans and coastal East Africans to adopt Islam. That is why we're going to see the rise of the Songhai, the Islamic Empire, the Songhai Empire. So the Kingdom of Ghana was the most important commercial site in West Africa because it was the center of the gold trade. It was literally built on a gold mine. So they had a lot of money, a lot of gold, and they were trading because the Islamic empires of around the Mediterranean really wanted this gold. They sold gold and also ivory and slaves. And what's important to know here is the Kingdom of Ghana, which originally started this very wealthy trade, is going to become the Songhai Empire. So the Songhai Empire will continue to trade gold, ivory, and slaves. Thanks. Bye.